In just days, entire towns across China were swallowed by floodwaters. Homes collapsed, bridges torn apart, families left with nothing. From Chengdu to Guizhou, lives were upended. You may see the headlines in the media, but not what happened. Around 5 p.m. on July 3rd, Chengdu issued a red alert for heavy rain. In just 3 hours, many parts of the city got hit with over 4 inches of rain, and in some spots more than 2.75 inches fell in just 1 hour. That's right on the edge of extreme weather levels. Videos taken by locals show streets flooded even before dark. Water levels reached halfway up car wheels, and some people were literally paddling down the street in inflatable kayaks. Since June 29th, Chengdu has been hammered by a series of storms, with total rainfall more than double what's typical for this time of year.
成都遭遇了多次强降雨袭击。
Flooding has swamped underground garages in some neighborhoods, and elevators have shorted out due to water damage. The heaviest rain hit on June 29th. One monitoring station recorded nearly 3.8 inches. In some areas, the 24-hour total topped 6 inches. Major roads like Guangxi Avenue, the Second Ring Overpass, and Tianfu Avenue were submerged in water as deep as 16 inches, stranding vehicles all over the city. On Metro Line 10 between Jinhua and Huaxin stations, service had to slow down due to backflow, and some stops were temporarily shut down. Chengdu's geography slopes from west to east, which funnels heavy rain and upstream river surges straight into the heart of the city. Add in miles of impermeable pavement and an aging drainage system that's maxed out, and the city is barely able to cope with this level of extreme weather. Chengdu's East train station, it turned into a soaking disaster. Rain poured through cracks in the roof, high-speed trains and subways were halted. Passengers trying to exit the station lined up and trudged forward through the flooding. Forecasts say Chengdu's still looking at cloudy skies and more rain, especially in the western mountain belt. Experts warn this storm cycle may show a train effect, meaning heavy rains could repeatedly hit the same areas. So the risk of flooding inside the city remains very real. Let's take a look at some of the other hard-hit regions across China. The flooding in Longlin County, Guangxi has been especially severe. The entire county seat was paralyzed, roads shut down, farmland wiped out, homes destroyed. On the morning of July 1st, 7 main streets were underwater. 5 districts suffered serious urban flooding. Houses and cars were submerged, some buildings damaged or even collapsed, and the agricultural losses were devastating. I'm on my way to Longlin now, and the road behind me has already collapsed. Police have cordoned it off, and the river is rushing like mad. If you're out here now, be careful. Many riverbanks have already given way. Just behind me, there used to be a brand new 5-story building. A few days ago, it was standing tall. One storm later and it vanished, gone in seconds. Footage shows the entire building crumbling and plunging into the river in an instant. Thankfully, no one was inside when it collapsed. No casualties were reported. People noticed the building leaning and cracking earlier that morning. They blocked off the area and kept vehicles away. It was extremely dangerous. Pingliu Tuan, Longlin, things got even worse. A full-on mudslide hit. Homes were knocked down like toy blocks. Reports say over 960 acres of crops in Longlin have been affected. Floodwaters swallowed rice fields, leaving behind thick layers of mud and sand. Local villagers say the flood came mixed with sludge and destroyed everything. The cleanup has been grueling, and people are left with nothing. One devastated farmer said, "My home and fields are gone. There's mud everywhere. I don't know what tomorrow looks like." In Yunnan's Yunnan County, Linchang, sudden downpours triggered flash floods and mudslides, cutting off multiple roads. Trains were suspended, highways went underwater. Landslides blocked key routes and shut down transportation across the region.
各位现在看到的
Here's what it looked like on the ground in Linchang, Yunnan. On July 2nd, hours of heavy rain hit the area hard. In some towns, over 2 inches of rain fell in just 1 hour. That triggered flash floods, river overflows, and serious urban flooding. Orange-level rain alerts were issued throughout Linchang district and Yun County early that morning. With the soil waterlogged from days of rain, the risks of landslides shot up fast. Roads and infrastructure were badly damaged. Rail transport between Dali and Linchang was cut off by a landslide near the Maolan-Yunxian section. More than 300 railway workers and heavy machinery were rushed in overnight for emergency repairs. Meanwhile, major highways connecting Linchang to Gangma and Changyuan were also blocked by mudslides. Rescue efforts are still underway. And it wasn't just Yunnan. From the night of June 30th to July 1st, heavy rains also slammed Wenxian County in Henan. From the night of June 30th to the early hours of July 1st, heavy rain hit Wenxian hard, triggering flash floods in several areas. Villagers from Chengdu reported that 2 elderly residents were swept away by floodwaters. The first floors of many homes were completely submerged, and both water and power lines were cut. Search and rescue teams managed to locate one of the missing seniors and rush them to the hospital. Sadly, the other is still missing. In Congjiang County, Guizhou, a silent flood swept through and nearly destroyed the entire town. Yesterday, a follower sent in footage, and that's how I found out that Congjiang, Guizhou was hit by a massive flood. The whole county was underwater. But you wouldn't know it, media coverage has been almost non-existent. Entire buildings were swept away, steel bridges were ripped in half. This tiny town is now enduring the worst flood in its recorded history. Congjiang is one of Guizhou's poorest counties. They've had very little access to the outside world. Over the years, they carved scenic spots out of the mountains and slowly began to develop. But this one flood and everything they built over decades was washed away overnight. In another part of Guizhou, someone captured a heartbreaking scene. A luxury white villa worth over 1.4 million had its foundation hollowed out by floodwaters, filled with sludge, and was visibly on the verge of collapsing. This house probably cost over $1.5 million to build, but there's nothing you can do. Once the flood hit, it was over. The water completely washed out the foundation. The inside's flooded and it's packed with thick, muddy silt. Cleaning it out will be a nightmare, and the foundation is badly damaged. It's barely holding on. Post-flood images are just heartbreaking. In Rong County, Guizhou, cars were flipped over by the current, and streets disappeared under mud and silt. This area got hit hard. The cars tossed up onto sidewalks and flipped over like toys. The whole section was underwater. The flood rose up to the 2nd floor. Long County and Guizhou took a massive hit from the flood. It's devastating. Online commenters pointed out for rural families, a house isn't just property. It's the result of generations of hard work and savings. And now, with one disaster, it's all gone. Another resident from Rongjiang captured the aftermath once the water receded. The floodwaters in Rongjiang have gone down, but the streets are still thick with sludge. Some apartment buildings had water up to the 2nd and 3rd floors. Furniture, all ruined. People just dragged it out and dumped it on the sidewalks. Underground garages and shopping centers were completely submerged, and for those street-level shops and lower-lying areas, the damage was catastrophic. What hits the hardest in a disaster like this is seeing everyday folks lose everything they've worked decades to build. Shops, homes, small dreams, gone in an instant. Our store was completely flooded, almost to the ceiling. We've lost at least $140,000. I don't know what to do now. I've got 3 kids, a mortgage, a car loan, and a storefront. Everything was bought with loans. We're on the hook for over $40,000 a month in repayments. It feels like the sky's falling. This store was more than 20 years of blood, sweat, and tears. I gave it everything I had, and now it's all gone. Meanwhile, in Hubei, Xiangfang County in Anxi Prefecture was hit with record-breaking rainfall and some of the worst they've ever seen. On July 1st, Xiangfang County was hit by an extreme downpour. From the night of June 30th into the early morning, the rain flooded streets so badly that many cars were swept into rivers. The heaviest rainfall hit 10.4 inches, with more than 11.8 inches falling within 12 hours, setting a new local record. Because the terrain is low, some areas saw water levels rise up to 10 to 13 feet. Several bridges were damaged or collapsed. Power, water, gas, and phone lines were all knocked out in parts of town. Bus services were suspended and schools closed. So far, more than 15,000 people have been evacuated. Thankfully, no deaths have been reported, but property losses are still being calculated. Emergency crews are racing to repair power lines, restore infrastructure, and keep people safe. Residents say many herbal medicine shops were badly damaged, and workers are rushing to save what they can. This extreme weather has taken a heavy toll in Xianfeng, and everyone's hoping life can return to normal soon. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.